And now it is my distinct pleasure and privilege to welcome our Virginijus, I practiced that a few times, Virginijus Sinkevičius, EU Commissioner for the Environment, Oceans and Fisheries with the European Commission, who will share with us a view from the European Commission. Commissioner?
Thank you very much, and good morning, and thank you for an excellent introduction. It brought me back to the times when I was studying in UK, and it's true. Most of the pubs named after the animals, and most of them are lions, actually. White, red, black, and so on. So, good morning, and of course, thank you very much for this invitation. You know, it's a strange feeling, because I'm living in Brussels for already 3 years, and I spend a lot of time in Brussels, but I don't get often to speak to the people of Brussels. So it's a wonderful city with so much to offer, and obviously it's a hub for the European technologies. So it's great to be celebrating this day today with you. Today we are looking at our technological future, but I think it's a good idea to remind ourselves, why do we actually need that future? Why the need for digital transformation is more urgent than ever before. Because here in Brussels, it's sometimes easy to forget the scale of the challenges we face. We are all very aware of COVID and of the illegal and unjustified Russian invasion of Ukraine with its war on our values and our energy and economy. At the same time, we continue facing challenges like climate change, biodiversity loss and pollution. And they threaten us all, and we need solutions that are fit for us all. Here the EU has an answer in the plan we call the European Green Deal. It's a holistic approach, a broad-ranging effort to rethink the way we produce and consume. It's a path for transition towards a greener, more circular, and more fair economy. And there are policies for everything, from zero pollution to nature protection, from the circular economy to our digital future. And it's supported by some tremendous financial firepower. That's Next Generation EU, the EU recovery strategy to accelerate the green and digital transition and steer the post-pandemic economic recovery towards more sustainability and a digitally mature economy. Today, we are here to talk about that economy. And the first thing I would say is COVID-19 sped up the adoption of digital technology by several years. It's partially thanks to COVID that digitalization is marching on at an unprecedented pace. This data circulating at tremendous speed in enormous quantities is changing all value chains. Business models are changing as well. And the ones that take advantage of digital solutions are seeing tremendous boost. In themselves, these digital technologies, they are neutral. They can be used just as easily to accelerate the old economy, the linear and unsustainable, or they can be used to enable circular and sustainable alternatives. And I'm sure that you know which one I would prefer. What we need is definitely global solutions, which tackle all these challenges at the same time. But we also need actions at local level as well. This is where cities and then local communities, they are going to play an essential role. Becoming more circular in business is the next big leap forward, and it will take us away from the old linear model where we design, produce something, use them, and throw away, sometimes used for a couple seconds. The future is designing products for reuse, repair, and recycle, and that has huge implications for business model. This is where the European Commission comes in. What we are trying to do is change the whole ecosystem of the EU economy. The way we see it, if we bring in a right to repair for EU consumers, we start laying the groundwork that will compel businesses to move in that direction. And very often, fundamentally, rethink the economic models that they relied on in the past. And here, digital technologies can help. They can enable sustainable business models, and that starts having a huge knock-on effect, helping us tackle those much bigger challenges that are catching up with us, like, above all, climate change. With digital technologies, to take one example, we can promote more sustainable consumption through a digital passport. When we enhance the traceability, not just of products, but of all their component parts, then we really start to unlock circular value. If we take the example of batteries in electric vehicles, the passport will give precise information about what's inside, about performance and transactions, and this will enable predictive maintenance, optimal use, and markets for second use as well. It also multiplies our capacity to retrieve the really valuable elements they contain, like rare earths and critical raw materials, which, no secret, we don't have in Europe. As policymakers, we have to look to the future. And this is why the wind is blowing. Battery use is expected to increase by a factor of 15. Many of these raw materials do not originate here in Europe. With a digital passport, we are doing ourselves an enormous favor. We are taking a big steps towards a greater strategic autonomy. And we see with war in Ukraine that sometimes cheap contracts can become extremely expensive geopolitically to us all and threaten our future. We are here to talk about cities as well as digital technologies, and they do have a crucial role to play. When cities make the right choices, they keep businesses alive. They maintain or increase quality of life for citizens. And I'm sure you know the figures. Cities are only 4% of the EU land area, but they are home to 75% of EU citizens. They consume over 65% of the world's energy, and they're responsible for more than 70% of global CO2 emissions. We can't solve any major challenge without cities being on board. They are pivotal on the pathway to climate neutrality, but also makes them vulnerable to disasters, pollution, and the impacts of climate change. That said, most of the solutions to our environmental crisis are developed in cities. And increasingly more and more cities are playing an exemplary role to the implementation. That's one reason why the European Commission has such a tight focus on urban centers. And if you are here today, you probably know all about EU mission for climate neutral and smart cities. We call it a mission. And we really do believe in its future. It's cross-sectoral, it's led by demand, and really is getting everyone on board, not just local authorities, but businesses, investors, regional and national authorities, of course, citizens, people on the ground who make things happen. The goal is to deliver 100 climate-neutral smart cities by 2030, with this first group acting as pioneers, experimenting, and being hubs of innovation for others to follow. Earlier this year, we selected that 100 from Gothenburg in Sweden to Thessaloniki in Greece, and there are 12 additional cities in countries associated to Horizon Europe. Our Centurions are now developing their climate city contracts, which include overall plans for climate neutrality across all sectors, not just energy and buildings, but everything, including waste management, transport, together with investment plans. In fact, that mission is only one of our outreach activities to the cities. There is also Green City Accord, our partnership with cities to improve the urban environment, and they measure their progress using 15 key environmental indicators, and they report through simplified online system. So far, I've been concentrating on the power of digital technologies and on how the Commission is trying to help the cities of Europe in their journey to sustainability and climate neutrality. To finalize, I'd like to look into one very powerful way of boosting your neutrality, and that is harnessing the power of nature. We call these ideas nature-based solutions. The idea is to use nature to help urban dwellers, to make the best of what nature has to offer and safeguard the future. It might be a forest, a wetland, a green belt, or a park. It might be in the city, or might be nearby. Perhaps it's green infrastructure like natural wastewater plant, a green roof, or a green wall. It could be ecosystem corridors, or some other green, blue, or hybrid urban infrastructure. Very often, it's the optimal solution. It will mitigate the effects of heat waves. It will improve insulation, and that will work in winter and in summer. And it will most likely also be financially the best solution. What nature provides for us for free can be hugely expensive to reproduce. Cities of the future need to make peace with nature, and they must design infrastructure with nature in mind. The key is integrating nature into the infrastructure planning process at the earliest possible stage, in a manner that's tailored to local context, a manner that takes account of your local reality. Florence and Helsinki will take very different approaches, although still learn from each other. Very often, I see in cities that, first of all, the trees are destroyed, and then in a few years, someone is looking for a solution, for a shade, or some strange showers to protect from the heat waves. Success requires an integrated approach. It means using digital technologies to monitor the natural environment. It means using both of those powers, bringing out the best in both, harnessing the power of nature and using smart technology to rethink the cities of the future. Biodiversity loss, climate change, and pollution, they're not just going away. We were lucky with COVID, but unfortunately for those three, we're not going to have a vaccine. We need to prepare our cities to deal with the consequences, and we need our cities to be places that tip the balance, moving the trends in the opposite direction. It's a delicate balance we need to get right, and cities are the place where we can start. Thank you very much, and I wish you, of course, a fruitful discussions for the day.